These are some of my favorite things. This right here, right now, live. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it is for you, wherever you are on the static planet, known as the world, known as Windsor, Ontario, the border town to Detroit, Michigan. If you don't know where we're at, that might help you out. My name, of course, is Michael John. I am part of, the creator of Michael John's Paranormal Ghost Stories, next to my fabulous co-host, one of my lifelong BFFs since grade 5. Let's get it in there. Dale, High Spirits Quigley. Yes. The man of the hour, the man of the power. Too sweet, too sour. Dale, High Spirits Quigley. Sorry. Let's get that correct. So what's amazing, I was talking to Dale earlier today when we were backstage before we even had a chance to get our guests backstage with us. And, you know, I got to be going through menopause. And why I say that, yes, going on 52 very soon here, folks. 52 years on the planet. That's nuts. Wow. I'm in bonus rounds for sure of life. Definitely. You know, at age 30, I was in a bonus round. But anyway, I did my running around today. My apartment's in shambles again. They're in here painting the walls, painting the ceiling. So move this, move that. So lots of chaos. So that's why it's kind of, there's no background today. It's just a simple wall and part of a window. I did my best, but I'm here. I showed up. Like Tim Shaw says, show up. And I conquered that. I did show up. So I'm proud of myself for that, because it's not easy for a lot of us to show up. You know, that blanket's 500 pounds a lot of days, right? You can't get out of bed. And, you know, it's a feat in itself to get up and even make your bed. But yes. So I was out doing my stuff, did some grocery shopping, and I thought I'd go for a quick little ride. It's a gorgeous day out. Play a couple tunes. I was listening to some Hinder, if anybody knows who that band is from way back in the day. At this point, it's got to be 15 years ago now that album came out. But I'm not playing DJ here. So I see a church up the road, and there's a bunch of little kids dressed up in bunny outfits and this sort of stuff, and they're kind of dancing. They're by the road, and they got their handmade signs and stuff, and it says Girl Guide cookies. Who doesn't love Girl Guide cookies?
Absolutely.
But I don't know what it was. I saw these young ladies doing their thing. I don't know, between 5 and 10 years old. I started crying. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Right in the field. So of course I had to turn the car around. I got a couple boxes. I gave one box to the gentleman downstairs who helps me out with Piper and Luna on occasion when another friend of mine isn't able to help out when I'm away doing the things that Dale and I do. And then I even bought them a box of cookies for themselves. And I'm not sitting here on a pedestal saying, hey, look at me. I didn't make a YouTube video out of it to say, hey, look what I did. I'm just saying, oh my God. You know, I don't know why I had a moment of emotional, you know, I was crying over it. I don't know. The kids struck me. I don't know. Anyways, it was a cool moment. I got Girl Guide cookies. Bottom line, how awesome.
Bottom line is you got some Girl Guide cookies, which are always fantastic cookies. I'll tell you.
I have not cracked the box yet. I'm sorry.
Wow.
But we'll get there.
If Michael John disappears, we know why.
Let's do this. So I'm going to show up, as we know the meaning, Lunker Nation. The show up clause means we're at the gym. We're doing our thing. Maybe while I'm on the treadmill, I'll be stuffing my face with vanilla and chocolate. Crumbs will be everywhere. I'll be the cookie monster of the gym for a minute. But anyways, alas, I digress. Focus, Michael. The task at hand. Here we are, April. We're, oh my God, we're almost done April. And we have had a hell of a month. I mean, we hit the ground running. We've been to a few events, a few Parafest, if you will, Paracon events, to name it like that. We were at the Midwest Parafest, saw the marriage of our good friends, Chad and Heather Dye. What an amazing night. Married by the one and only John E.L. Tenney. Oh my God.
I know that was amazing in itself. I mean, who'd better get married by than John Tenney? I mean, my God, it was just you hit the cream of the crop when you hit that one. But just before we keep carrying on, we got some followers on the site, and I don't know why it's not showing up in our chat box.
I don't.
But we got Mr. Joe Periodity in the house.
Oh my God, I love you, Joe. Mwah. One of the greatest guys. When you meet certain people in the paranormal, when we're out and we're doing our thing, you meet certain people, and it's an instant connection. That, for me, meeting Joe, there was an instant connection. I got nothing but mad love for that guy. In the highest regards, when I say that, I really do. I adore that man. So thank you for the continued support, Joe. Landing the plane on my point. I'm not spreading cheeks. I'm just calling it like it is. Thank you.
We love that. We love our New York boys. You got Tim Shaw, you got Frank Cupola, and you got Joe Periodity. Amazing guests. Yeah. So we also got Rob Simpson, Rob and Deb from Wallaceburg. Thank you guys. We love you guys.
More ironclad supporters.
We got Brian Uford.
Who?
Brian Uford.
Brian Ufford. Oh my God! Speaking of, that's another lifelong BFF of mine supporting. Thank you so much. What a list!
And another lovely lady who I got to meet at Potographs was Christy London. Christy.
Hello,
another amazing medium that we could. And High sign, absolutely. So yeah, guys, for some reason I don't. Oh, and just piping in right now is the lovely Miss Deb DeRoos, another favorite of ours. Oh my God, we love you guys.
We got to talk. We got to talk.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah. No, we coming off a spectacular Midwest Parafest with Chad and Heather, and then this past Saturday, we made our speaking debut at the Body, Mind, and Spirit Spring Fling event right there in Oxford, Michigan, with our really good friends Axie and Candace. We love those guys so much.
And what an opportunity that was!
What a great event! It was a night. It was a crappy day outside, but the energy on the inside was spectacular. Like I said, it was absolutely fun. We had a lot of fun.
What was neat about that, real quick, before we get on to our guests here? What was really, really neat, and that's not even a strong enough word to describe. Yes, the energy was amazing there, without a doubt. But I noticed, and this says a lot about the event, people that came in there, that showed up to partake in the event and check it out and be a part of, and they didn't leave. They stayed around all day. These people, the spectators, the guests, however that resonates, and that to me speaks volumes for the quality of the event, for the energy of the event. The Body, Mind, and Spirit spring fling. I mean, next year I'm sure there's going to be another one. It's just getting better and better. This was the second annual.
Absolutely. So before we bring out our amazing guests that we have going on, Michael, you had an opportunity at this event this past weekend to actually sit down with a lady who was a pet psychic or a pet medium.
Correct.
And I'll tell you, I mean, how amazing was that to be able to have a chance to sit down and talk with her? I mean, it was. I mean, to me, it was interesting. I wish I had something that I could have offered up in order to talk to the lady. But yeah, I know you did.
Well, I mean, I've had so many dogs, cats over the course of my life. But I went with one of the most recent, and that was my Rosie. She's a dog, for those who don't know. Buster, I tried. Buster was basically her companion. It was emotional. As soon as I sat down and I pulled out the photo of Rosie, Jeff, what are your questions? I couldn't even start asking my question. I started bawling. It was just, and she made a really good point. She goes, I think maybe you needed this reading more than they did,
Right.
Absolutely. She was really good. She was very attentive that way. Very encouraging, to say the least. She hit the nail on the head on one thing. So for me, that solidifies the quality of a reader she is. She's really good. She's definitely she's newer to it. She's being going to Axie for guidance. I guess Axie's her mentor. Let's say it like that. So I mean, she's in good company. She's only going to get better.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry her name eludes me right now because I wasn't prepared for this question, which is a great question. Why didn't I think of it? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no. I just know it was a very unique. Like, I mean, you hear of regular psychics and mediums doing readings for people, but this lady, she reaches out to your pets on the other side, and we will get her name and we will be posting it on our Facebook page. So watch out for that. So, in the meantime, Michael, let's bring on our amazing guests. I've been looking forward to talking with these people since I met one half of them last year.
Okay, where did you meet them?
I met Shayla at the Sage Paracon held by the lovely Miss MJ Dixon. What an amazing event. It's coming up again May 24th, 25th, and 26th, I believe.
Okay.
It's during the long weekend this year. So the Paranormal Voice is going to be back there once again this year. So I'm looking forward to getting back up there to Virginia. It was an amazing at the Bell Grove Plantation right there in King George, Virginia. What an amazing building. The history of it, I know it was the childhood home of one of the early presidents. Maybe Shayla and Ronnie, our guests, will have a little bit of background on that because they're from that area. So I met Shayla, had a really great conversation with us. Very like her stories were like the stuff that they've encountered was just like wow, and I love that. It's
that's what it's about.
It's all about people's experiences into the paranormal and what brought these guys into the paranormal. So I'm so excited that we were able to get them on, and it took a long time, but we finally got them here.
So these guys are a 2-member team. Started with, like most of us, there's a curiosity about the afterlife. And they're looking at stories of the past, that could be told by those that came before us, or in other words, the ghosties, as I like to call them. The ghosties are always great information sources if we can tap into them. So the gentleman he's a native of, I hope I say this right, I should have asked, and damn it, Shenandoah Valley. Grew up with his grandparents who ran a funeral parlor out of their home. They also owned, of all things, a horse-drawn hearse. That's crazy. I love that. That's like next level creepyhearse.com. You know what I mean? And then the lovely lady Shayla grew up in Arlington, Virginia, which is just outside of Washington, D.C. She's the creative one of the group. He's the tech guy. Let's welcome them now, short and sweet to the point. Middletown Paranormal Zone, Ronnie and Shayla Rickard.
There they are.
What?
Hi.
And to make it easy, it's Shenandoah.
Shenandoah.
Yeah. There you go.
I destroyed it, didn't I?
No, you're fine. You're fine. It's just one of those odd names, but
yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's my fault for not asking. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Hey guys, it is so good to see you. So glad to finally be able to get this opportunity to really dig, because I know Shayla, I had an opportunity to talk to you over the weekend last year. Wow, it's hard to believe it was like that long ago. Like I remember that weekend just like it was yesterday. It was such an amazing weekend, and I met so many amazing people.
Well, we got to FaceTime while she was there.
You what?
Oh,
remember she had me on the phone, was FaceTiming me while they were
yeah.
Friday or Saturday night. One of those nights.
Yeah. What? But I mean, what an amazing weekend that was. And like I said, I walked away from that weekend with a really unique perspective of Virginia, because that was my first trip ever to Virginia. So I had a lot of fun while I was there. I did get to see a lot, but at the same time, I wasn't sure what I was going to expect. But oh my God, I know this year here, I took an extra few days so that I could actually do some more sightseeing, because all the historic locations that were very close to where I was, the White House was like an hour away from me, and I couldn't even go and see the White House.
Yeah.
And I that was one of the most, I guess, for us Canadians, I mean, we hear so much about the White House and Arlington Cemetery, so it's been always on my bucket list of places to visit. And here I was that close, and I couldn't even visit because I didn't even plan my vacation right. But that's on me. So I look forward to doing that this year. So guys, we're going to get right into the brass tacks of all the questioning. We'll start with either or whatever one of you guys want to start. What got you guys into the paranormal? Like what age? She's like, over there.
It actually is quite recent. So fun fact, we live near the second Belgrove. It's in Middletown, Virginia. So the original Belgrove is the one that we visited. And then the sister of, Mr. Height built the one here in Middletown. But so our town is very full of rich history. And so I guess, I don't know, I had a dog and I used to have like insomnia. And so before Ronnie and I, moved in together, I would walk the dog in the middle of the night and I would be walking down the street and I'd be like, what is that in the road? And it was a soldier and he looked like, I heard it's like somebody dressed up with like a Halloween costume. You know how those bums, they put like the stick and they put like the handkerchief on the end. And I was like, what in the world is that? And so it was always walking towards Winchester. Like I told people millions of times about this story. And so they're like, and so I thought it was crazy. Like everybody does that. You think you see something and you're like, no, you explain it away because we're logical people, we're logical adults. And so I did that a lot. And then, life happens. And my son had a really serious car accident. And something opened up inside of me that I can't explain. And I started watching the ghost shows and I looked at him one day when he came home and I was like, we can do this. Let's do it.
No, she said, I have an idea. I'm like, how much is this going to cost us? Every time she has an idea, it costs money.
That is for sure. I don't think there's an idea out there that doesn't cost any money besides the fact that you just thought of it for free, but the price tag comes a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, it's one of the better suggestions she has. I mean, I don't regret any of it. None of it at all. And to answer your question earlier when she was talking about our Belgrove, it's the second one. This area was full of the family. Their last name was Height. Major Isaac Height. He married Nellie Madison, whose brother was James Madison. He grew up in the original Belgrove that you were at.
Oh, okay, James Madison. That was the name I couldn't think of.
Yeah,
and
that's the name you were looking for.
I know it's a former president, but I was like, I can't think. Certain things I'm really good on. Remembering places I've been, I am not.
It's all good.
Yeah, he was our fourth president, but she decided to keep the name. And our Belgrove is a museum. They won't allow us to do anything there at all.
Oh wow.
So, and we're 2 hours from the other one. So you have time when you want to visit, it's 2 hours up the road.
Wow. No, absolutely. I heard so much about the other Belgrove. So yeah, I mean, eventually I would love to. I mean, I think I could at this point. I could probably spend a couple weeks in Virginia and not see the same thing twice.
Amen. And we have such varying areas. Like some are rural, some are urban, and then there's everything in between. So.
Well, and there's a place here in town where we used to go to. A little bit of conflict right now, but it's called the Wayside Inn. 1797. It's the oldest motor lodge in America. It's been in business since 1797.
Oh my God,
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's a super cool location. It has layers upon layers of stories and history, and just oh my gosh, it's just I could talk for hours about it. But
it's been 2 years since we've been down there.
So
at least 2 years.
But our first investigation was actually at the Belgrove where we met Dale. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So. No, that like I said, the experience in there. I know we did I think I had more experiences of the paranormal during the murder mystery game than we did when we were going through it the night before.
Seriously?
Yes.
I didn't get to stay for that, but the investigation in MJ's room, in the Madison room, was whoa.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the Saturday night. Yeah, that was the most active. I mean, there was little things that happened throughout the rest of the building, but yeah, the room that MJ was in. But even the second night during the murder mystery, it was. I don't know. I think it's because people were playing a character, so it was probably
Ooh, yeah.
interacting with people
Hmm.
because they were telling the stories of the people that were living in the house. I know the moment we walked in, our first room that we were part of the murder mystery where we had to go find clues was right there in MJ's room. And as soon as we walked in, they had a setup that they were going to try to communicate with the spirit and with through a Ouija board when
Yes.
the so there was a door to the left when you walked in and there was a door to the right.
Okay, yeah.
I think the door to the right was a bathroom, I believe.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct.
But the other door, when we walked into that room, it opened all by itself and closed.
Oh, that's cool. That's
so
cool.
we were like, is that part of the game? And MJ spoke right up and she goes, I'm just going to tell you guys right now, that was not part of it, but that was cool.
Which room was she staying in?
The Madison room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so we stayed in the Madison room one time, and we put our stuff down, and he went downstairs to meet with John Sullivan from Fredericksburg and all them. And I was in the chair, like on the other side of the room, and I was putting my stuff away, and I turned around to leave, and the rocking chair is just going, bloop, bloop, bloop,
Oh, that's so cool.
And I'm like, all right, that's cool.
Now, the room across the hallway from it, the Turner room, on one of the windows, I don't know if you saw that when you were there or not, on one of the windows, when the Turner family owned that building, Kerry Turner was engaged to a Confederate officer. He was supposed to come back and get married, but he never came back. He survived the war, but he never came back. So she took her diamond ring and she scratched her name in the window and the date and something else. And if you go over and look at that window, you can still see it.
No kidding.
Yes,
wow. I am definitely going to have to look for that this year.
Yeah. And then I took you met Kim at the Kim Sage, one of the presenters at Fredericksburg.
Yeah. She's actually going to be our guest coming up this Sunday.
Oh my gosh, I love Kim. So Kim and Rhonda and her friend Rhonda Darty, they've done so much for me, like spiritually. I'm so grateful to them. But I took a class with her on like opening up, like meditation, learning your gifts and things like that. And so she was having us read, and we were in the dining room. And so we had closed the door to the hallway there. And I started reading, and it just went and opened. And Kim looked at the door and she goes, "Did you latch that?" And Ron said, "Yep." And there was like talking, and then the door opened, and then it was just really weird. There was nobody there.
Wow. I mean, that is cool. Yeah, no, we could sit here and talk about the Belgrove plantation but we got to get behind like all your experiences, because like, I mean, besides there, like you guys, you had some like really interesting stories.
Ronnie.
Yes.
I got to pick your brain for a minute because I'm very intrigued by the fact your grandparents ran a funeral parlor.
My grandfather and my great-grandfather. That's in the time when they used to stay up with the dead. They had a long farmhouse, and there was a middle room that they would lay the body, and they would stay up with the dead. That was before embalming and everything like that.
Stay up with the dead. What does that even mean?
They didn't sleep that night. They'd stay up with them till they had the funeral the next day.
Wow. Okay, I love learning, because we always learn that. Wow, never knew that.
Oh
God.
I've never heard that before. That is very interesting.
Yeah, they had a bed they laid the body out on, and they just stayed up all night. They conversed among themselves, and then they had the funeral the next day, and they all left. And from there, mother said she hated living in that house.
I can't imagine.
It was a large farmhouse, but it was my great grandmother, my great grandfather, my grandmother and grandfather, 2 uncles, and my mother were in that house together.
Did your mother or even your grandparents ever share? Were you ever there yourself?
Oh yeah, I spent my childhood there.
Even better. Okay. So your grandmother, so your mother, your grandparents, and yourself, a combo of everyone. What's the creepiest, freakiest, weirdest experiences / stories you can share right now? One of them.
The one that really sticks out is the one
Please.
My great grandmother told when my great grandfather died, which he died in 1961. So I was a year old then. Is she was sleeping upstairs, which is above the room where they stayed up with the dead. And she kept hearing pecking on the window. And she said she looked at the window and she saw my great grandfather outside there was a little roof outside that window. She saw him on the roof and she went over to open the window to let him in, but there's nobody there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It was right after he passed.
Oh, wow.
That's the strangest thing I heard from there. That's
okay. Wow.
Now, there must have been a constant, I'm speculating, was there a lot of shadow figures on that, disembodied voices, anything like that happening?
As a child, I didn't really notice a lot. I probably heard some, just never paid any attention because, at that age, I mean, I was below the age of 10 then.
Okay.
Yeah, I just really didn't pay that much attention.
Okay.
Shadow figures, yeah, I always saw things out of the corner of my eye. Some weird things. Yeah.
That would have been a busy place.
Yeah.
Sure.
And yeah, he had two huge black horses and a black hearse that was pulled by the 2 horses.
Amazing. That'd have been beautiful. Oh my God. Do you have photos of that?
I have one photo my mother has. I'll have to get it and make some copies of it.
Oh wow. No, that's I mean, yeah, that's
cool.
I mean, that's going back in the day when your horse drawn hearse.
Yeah.
I mean, that you only see that nowadays. Like the last time we've seen it would be when the Queen passed away.
Oh yeah.
But tradition. I mean, that was cool.
The funeral home in Strasburg, where the area I grew up, it opened sometime in the 60s, and they started the embalming procedure and stuff there. So my grandfather and great grandfather, they weren't going to get into that part, so they got out of it from there. But yeah, it was strange.
How did the two of you meet? So we actually met years ago. We were in the rescue squad together. He was the lieutenant of the membership, and I was this young chick who just moved from Arlington who got her EMT license and needed to get into the rescue squad. And so he did my interview, and I was married. He was married. We had kids from, our previous relationships. And then, he just dropped me a note on Facebook, and I was like, okay, this will be fun for a couple days. And 10 years later.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, you never know where you're going to meet your next life partner, or you're somebody you would consider your soulmate. But I always find it's interesting, like a husband and wife paranormal team, because I mean, the energy and like you guys obviously feed off each other.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Ronnie, do you have any special gifts that you would consider that you would have? Like
No,
psychic, medium, or you're...
I'm kind of I go into each location kind of as a skeptic. I'm like, I'll believe it when I see it or feel it or anything like that. I want something to happen, whether it does or not. You don't know till you go through it. I've had some confrontations, I guess you could say, with some spirits during SD sessions, things like that. Because when she's in SDs, and Dennis Eslock, who's a good friend of ours, who is one of the caretakers at the cabin on 360 in Mechanicsville, he said that I'm designed to be the protector.
Oh, okay.
If whatever she's saying through Estes doesn't sound right. Whatever it's saying, I'll come back at it. And I'm like, if it says, you need to leave her alone, I'm in charge. I'm like, no, you're not. I'm in charge. Right. And I'll snap back at it just like that. I will not. No.
Okay.
They're not going to push me around. So we did Estes session in the corner of the basement of the brick Ramberg cabin, which is where a dark entity hangs out. A lot of strange things have happened with the entity. On our Facebook page, way down somewhere, there's 2 live streams, one from a Friday night, one from a Saturday night. Friday night, she's in the corner. Estes sessions, the first time anybody's been put in the corner, which was my idea. Tyler Darnell was the other side of the basement. He was in Estes also. So we had dual Estes going on. And it came at her saying it was going to do something to Tyler. And Dennis and I had to pick her up and carry her out. She didn't realize where she was until we got her outside. The second night on that live stream, I had Brandon Johnson, who you met him at Sage. He's with Haunted Nights, Paranormal Events with Twisted Crew. Him and Lyle set up the equipment and everything for all the microphones and stuff. I had Brandon recite the Lord's Prayer while she was still back in the corner doing Estes again on Saturday night. That pissed it off. It kept saying, stop it, who the hell are you, stop it. Then it came after me. I'm like, oh, no, you're not coming after me. It mentioned something from back when I was had just gotten out of high school. It didn't click with me right away, but we talked about it after.
Wow.
And it made no sense because I was almost involved with that part, but I wasn't involved. It said the town of Woodstock, said a wreck, and I wasn't involved with that other than the guy who was in the wreck asked me if I wanted to ride to Woodstock with him that night. He was a little too much to drink, and I'm like, no, I'm going home.
Yeah.
But he was in a really bad wreck, and he survived the wreck, but a 68 Camaro got totaled. But yeah, that's what I do. I mean, I'm always open for something to happen, but I have no special abilities.
Have you ever had, and do you have, I guess, even right now while we're speaking, live and in color, if you will, do you have any attachments or any friends at your residence?
Probably.
Yes, we do. We really
probably
do.
Because on a side note, the cemetery that my grandfather, my father, my great-grandfather, grandmother, great-grandmother, other relatives that go back on that side of my family, I mow that cemetery and weed eat it every couple of weeks. Ooh. And I was out there last week mowing and just corner of my eye, I sent her a message and I said, I think everybody's starting to visit each other again as it's getting warmer because I'm seeing a lot of stuff out of the corner of my eyes. Yeah. Just nonstop.
And I last summer, I remember I had a dream like I always do. And I go and I'm out in our dining room and there's like all these random people like sitting at the dining room table that don't connect at all. Like they don't make sense. And I'm like, what are you doing here? And they're just like, they're like, well, we're having a drink or they made some excuse up. But then like going to the cemetery, sometimes I help him and I weed eat and I read the tombstones. So, like some of the names, okay, that was that person. That was that person. I talked to his dad before. His dad's buried out there. So
in a dream.
Yes.
That's amazing. I love that.
Before we go to any location, if we have a location plan, a couple weeks before we ever go to that location, she'll have a dream about it. Interesting. And we'll figure it out once we get there. And usually
it comes to fruition somehow, some way, right? It makes sense.
Incredible. Yes. No, I have heard of people that will do that. Prior to going to investigate, especially if it's a place they've never been before, it seems to come to them in a dream with something going on, and they don't really realize that until they actually get to the location itself. So I mean that's very, very interesting. Just before we continue on there, we had some more people popping in here. Just want to say a quick hello to Brandy Butcher from Blondes and Booze. Brandy, what's
Hello,
up?
Brandy. Love you, girl.
Our good buddy Richie B is in the house.
Richie
B, what's going on, brother?
Thanks for joining us.
Another lady that we met at the Midwest Parafest, Miss Patty Jane, is here.
Patty Jane, hello, PJ, love you, girl.
And Andy Guy is in the house. So yeah, lots
Andy.
of.
Hello, Andy. That's a friend of yours.
I've watched him for a while. He makes really cool ghost equipment.
Okay.
Okay.
So I'm gonna check.
We love people that make ghost equipment. That's always. So speaking of ghost equipment.
Oh yes.
What would be your go-to ghost piece of equipment?
I'm gonna say I love the tripwire we bought. I love our tripwire. We got it from a team in Ohio, and it's just a long string of lights that it's kind of like REM pods. It's individual REM pod, and
cool.
It's really cool. We'll go out in the backyard because our house was an apple orchard during the Civil War, and they
oh my God,
they'll walk through our backyard because also St. Thomas Chapel is right. You can see it from our house, and that was a Civil War hospital. So it's just all around us. So
I was gonna say that. Oh my God.
yeah, it's all around us, and the cool part is that the tripwire. I mean, it's to me, it's as long as you don't have your cell phone near it, there's really not much that can set it off if you're paying attention. So I'm not saying it's definitive. We don't know what's definitive in this field, but
fair enough. Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things where you can see one light go off. It's not like everything goes off. You can see like a pattern. So
we've had it go off in the backyard before, and we weren't even close to it. I put it at the upper end of the backyard, and we'll sit on the deck, and we'll watch the lights change.
Yeah, as they walk by.
That's cool.
Yeah, but I got something new I want to try. We're going to Gettysburg here in a few weeks to Rainsworth Lodge.
I'm jealous.
And his new toy.
But there's a company that just moved to Virginia who made one of these. It's a candle.
Okay.
And theirs is made out of wax. So we got a plastic one off of Amazon. I sat down to a friend of ours in Ashland, Ron Wood from Booze Paranormal. He's starting to make equipment on his own. It's a little bit cheaper, works just as well. But when we go to Rainsworth Lodge, I want to take this along and yeah.
Oh, wow.
If you see it or not.
It's a REM pod candle.
Yeah, it's just a REM pod candle.
Oh, that is so cool.
The wick up here lights up. So we're going to try it when we get up there. It'll be the first time we've used it up there.
Well,
now, using equipment like that when it's disguised as something else, like I mean that is probably a much better trigger object than it is if you just put a regular RAM prod in the middle of a table and say, "Hey, come on over and get it near this thing," because to the other side they're probably looking at it going, what is that strange looking device? And I am not getting anywhere near that. Where if you say, hey, if somebody's with us, come close to the candle, they're going to go, okay, because you know what a candle is. Yeah. So they're not going to be so afraid of it, right? At least that's the way I would think it would
Interesting theory.
More of a interesting trigger object for sure.
Or, just ask them to light the candle or something like that. What I'm going to do is I've got two of them. When she ordered them off Amazon, two came in the box. I've got a Confederate hat. I'm going up to the Battlefield Museum and get a Union hat. When we get to Rainsworth, I'm going to set them out, set them apart, set the candle one on top of each hat. Which hat did you wear? You light the candle and show me which hat you wore. See if that works. Just see what kind of response we get.
I love it. Wow.
Yeah, no, that's definitely thinking outside the box. And that's the kind of investigating that I enjoy, are people who think outside the box and not just stay within the normal parameters like, oh, come and touch this. Oh, do this to me. But, making them like be able to choose and show you what it is that they're familiar with, or they, like you said, like what did they wear or something like that?
Yeah, because a
So,
candle, they'll recognize a candle because it's from
oh
the
yeah,
time period. They didn't have
oh,
electricity, didn't have electric lights. They had candlelight.
oh yeah, everything was lit by candlelight
Mhm.
back then. So yeah, no, definitely for sure. That is amazing. Gettysburg is a very interesting place. A place that I've heard so much about. Our good friend Tim Shaw absolutely loves that place. So sitting around Tim Shaw, he talks about a lot of Gettysburg stories. So I always look forward to venturing down there one of these days during one of their events, anyways, because I know they have a lot of events that go on there. Uh, I guess the next one is what, the Gettysburg Bash or something
Yeah,
like
it's
that.
in July. We're going to that one.
I love that place. I mean, just I have a great respect for Abraham Lincoln, and they have a lot of stuff about him there. Of course, he was there, but I mean, just visiting the battlegrounds. I mean, if you take the paranormal out of it, it's just the most amazing experience just to see it and to see that they preserved history and
Oh,
why
absolutely.
they did it, and they've done it in a great way. So,
And the
We're
two
going
of
up.
you, speaking of history, your passion for history, just, I mean, it's beaming through here. It's amazing to hear the idea with the two hats and the candle. I mean, that's historical ghost hunting, if you will. I mean, that's the writings on the wall, and I love it. And that's, I think, what helps you two to stand out here in the field. I mean, that's a big accomplishment with, there's the norms, but you guys are outside the norm. So I want to say, hey, wow, I applaud you for that. I think that's great. You guys have been to a few paracons in your day together now, doing what you do.
Mhm.
You must have had and heard speakers.
Mhm.
Favorite paracon you've been to, if you can, as well as the most compelling speaker you heard.
I'm going to say Sage, and the only reason I will say that is I got to meet John Zaffis, but I will say that Calvin had made me think more than I ever thought he would. Like Calvin Von Crutch, if you have never heard him speak, I never, I was just like, why do I do that? And why do I feel that way? And I had to take a step back and go, I need to answer these questions for myself, be able to say, this is why I do this way. And this is why I think this way. Because if someone comes to me like him, I have to not defend myself, but be able to say, this is what my beliefs are. And this is why.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And honestly, I haven't been to any paracons. She gets to go to those because
You went to Hanover?
Sorry, what?
You went in January.
Yeah.
But we went to one in January in Hanover, Virginia, which is right outside of Richmond, and they did a speak on dark tourism, which is kind of the notion that localities can make revenue and economically benefit from historical locations, and having people like ourselves come in, do speaking engagements like you all did, do investigations like we did, because it generates revenue for everybody, the hotels, the restaurants, what have you, and people don't think about that. So it's got a name now, dark tourism. So I think that's kind of cool.
Absolutely. I mean, so where you guys live, what is the cryptid story around where you guys live? Because every place has a cryptid connection to it. So
Belle Grove is where the Battle of Cedar Creek happened in October of 1863.
Right.
It happened, and it was a horrific battle. And when they had the battle and anyone got hurt, they took them to St. Thomas Chapel, which is the chapel you can see from our backyard.
Yep.
Every single house along the way and everything beyond, which goes to Wayside, was a hospital. Everybody has a story. There's a house that's 2 doors down from St. Thomas Chapel that on the wood floor, there's a blood stain that won't go away because there's a soldier who didn't make it to St. Thomas Chapel and he bled out in the doorway. So ours is more Civil War historic. There are people who put sheds on their property and they still find belt buckles and buttons and bullets from the Civil
No
War.
kidding.
Yeah. I'm on town council here, and we had a gentleman come in and he had a whole gallon bag full of them, and he just donated it to the town.
Neat.
So that's kind of our thing is the legend of Civil War and how it's just embellished the whole town.
Really not that many stories in this area from cryptids, Bigfoot, Dogman, anything like that. Further south, you go Harrisonburg, Stanton, Weir's Cave. They have a little bit more of that type of activity down that way.
Okay.
Matter of fact, in June, the second or third weekend of June is Bigfoot convention in Weir's Cave. That's a 2-day thing. Yeah.
But yeah, it's mostly Civil War based. What's here in Middletown. So.
And you guys don't have it. You've never experienced cryptids yourselves.
I thought I'd heard something at Belgrove one night when I was outside smoking a cigarette, but it could have been a coyote. I don't know. Couldn't see it. Couldn't hear it. It just sounded strange. But then again, it also had the knocking to it. So, yeah, I heard that too. And I think that's the fastest cigarette I've ever smoked.
I remember when we were there. I can't remember her name for the life of me. The lady that takes care of the place.
Sandra?
No, Michelle.
Yeah, because I was talking to her, and she said something very similar, that she believes that there is a Bigfoot or something that's living in the woods right off because of some of the sounds that she's heard. And she said even knocking on the building itself late at night, like she would. But so that would kind of coincide with your story. But yeah, I mean, it's the only reason why I asked is because when I was driving up to Virginia, I noticed that it is a lot of wooded areas. So usually with Michael John has been really teaching me about the cryptid world, and several guests that we've had on as well. So every time, just like when me and Michael John go for a drive, it's like we see a wooded area. The first thing Michael John will say, "Is there water? Is there food?" Because that could be habitated by a Bigfoot or something. And yeah, and I mean it's true that where we were at the Belgrove Plantation, there was lots of wildlife, and there was that whole river that's right behind the building.
That's all you need. There's the recipe.
Yeah. So
it's all the activity I've heard has been down where the garage is, in the wooded area by the garage.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's the only place you're allowed to smoke is outside the garage. So yeah, I can always hear it over there in the woods.
They're interested in you.
I'm not going to be there that long. I'm 63, but I can still run.
So if you see Ronnie running, run faster, because he's not running just for the hell of it.
Yeah. Get ahead of me.
So what we ask this of a lot of our guests, what would be maybe your top 2 bucket lists of places to investigate if you guys had the opportunity? Money's not an object, location's not an object. If you guys just had a place, 2 places you guys would love is a dream location.
For me, any castle in Ireland, and to meet MJ over at Skeered Inn. Nice. She goes there a lot. So yeah, both of those would be overseas.
So not only do I love history, but I love insane asylums. They're like my thing. I also study the history of mental health and how it's evolved. Thank the Lord, it has evolved.
Yeah.
So I also think that kind of coincides with serial killers. So I would love to go to some place like Aleister Crowley's castle, or I would love to go to some place like a big insane asylum that's just hasn't been over investigated, I will say, because there's a lot of them that have been over investigated.
Right.
And again, I'm not going to name any names because I'm really not familiar with all of them. I just know the ones who are close to us. But I would love to go to an insane asylum that has some history to it and just sit there and listen.
I love it.
Insane asylums, yeah, it's just like I know Michael John has had the opportunity to definitely investigate a place on my list, which was Waverly Hills in Kentucky,
that's on the list for next year.
But Trans-Allegheny is probably, for asylums, I'd say Trans-Allegheny would be like my number one asylum I would want to. But it's so dark in history. They, like, just talking to the few people that I know that have investigated there, they say it's like off the chart type of place. So, but I love prisons. That's my thing.
That's on the list for next year too.
We've done a lot of prisons, but we have in Stanton, they have the DeJarnette Sanitarium that's condemned and you can't get in it, and it's got a long historic past. But
that man was evil.
We've he did eugenics and he was involved with the Nazis. But then there's St. Albans. I'm sure you've heard of St. Albans in Radford, Virginia. There, I think we went 5 times that one year. And I was like, I want to go back again because that's a really great location too. And I don't know, I get really excited and they talk to me and I walk in the door and I can hear them. She's here.
It's a different kind of place. That's for sure. We had, I think that video might be on our Facebook page too. We were down. Everybody says there's a lot of activity in the bowling alley. We not so much get activity in the bowling alley. We went to the boiler room where a guy named Smokey is supposed to hang out. So there's a cigarette laying up on top of one of the pipes, and I don't have a camera going because my FASM cam decides it doesn't want to work down in the hallway. So all I have is my phone. I turn my video camera on, and you hear her, and she's like, "Oh, did you see that?" Like she saw a hand come up from behind. And on the we didn't hear it ourselves, but on the video, it's like, it kind of sounds like me once in a while since I smoke, a smoker's laugh. Just real long. We didn't hear it. We didn't audibly hear it, but it's on the video. I mean, I've still got the video. It's just
wow.
And we went up and showed Marcel, and she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "I don't know. You tell me."
We really don't know what it is.
Oh,
cool.
That's amazing. So guys, anybody who is watching this video live today, in the future, over on KGRA Digital Media, if somebody who lives in your area is believing they're having a paranormal issue, how would they be able to reach out to you guys to get you guys to help them out?
So first of all, we do that for free. And we do all the research on the property beforehand, and we present it to the owner when we get there. Again, my history thing. But we've done a couple around here, and people contact us usually through Facebook Messenger, or they send us an email. So.
Okay.
And where are you guys going to be next up the road? Are you going to be at some events? Are you going to be touring somewhere? Are you going to be investigating somewhere? What's next on your list of to-dos?
In a couple of weeks, we're going to be in Gettysburg at the Rainsworth Lodge. We'll be with Dan and Karen Porter, friends of ours, with their group, Supernatural Lost Adventures. They're like us. It's just a husband and wife team.
Okay.
Nice.
Daniel Bonner, who owns the Rainsworth Lodge, was having a thing back over the holidays, a raffle. And one of the things he was raffling off was an overnight investigation at the lodge. Dan put in for it, sent me a message. He said, "Pick a number." I said, "I picked a number," and my number didn't hit, but his did. But he got the overnight investigation, said, "You want to go to Gettysburg?" I'm like, "Well, hell yeah. Who wouldn't?" So, but we decided, since we're going, that he won the thing for Saturday night, we paid for Friday night. So we have the Airbnb for Friday and Saturday night. So we got 2 nights of investigation. That's going to be wild.
And then I'm trying to go to Sage, so that'll be next after that.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Busy.
Absolutely.
Yeah. June we have
Hanover Tavern.
Henricus is before that.
That's right.
We're helping out with leading groups at Henricus Historical Park down outside of Richmond. That is the second settlement in Virginia after Jamestown.
Okay.
There's a lot of activity there, and a lot of people have actually gotten Pocahontas on voice recorders there.
Come on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that would
Nuts.
be exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that would be cool.
But we're always looking for new things and going new places, and yeah, we're growing our YouTube channel. So like us on our YouTube channel.
Yeah, we're putting some videos up of places we've been, and the last one she put up was USS North Carolina, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we went there in February. That was fun. That battleship was fun.
Nice. That's something I have not ever investigated as a battleship. No.
There's a lot of walking. And the ladders are straight up and down. My legs were sore for 3 days afterwards.
And crawling through the holes,
yeah.
To go through everything is.
But I want to go back.
Yeah.
I'm ready to go back.
I think he's a battleship guy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. There's so much to do on there. We didn't even touch half of it.
Wow,
so, yeah, we got to go back and finish. And that's going to be about 5 trips before we finish.
Hey, sounds like a lot of fun, for sure. But
well, we have fun with the people we go with too. Like we do a lot with Supernatural Lost Adventures, Culpeper Paranormal. Yeah, we had a blast when we went down there in February with those guys. And Dan and I were talking about using cap guns at Gettysburg outside to try to see what we could rustle up as far as. Yeah, they the wives didn't like that idea too much. It's just cap guns on, the paper roll caps that we used to have.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to just use that to see what we triggered. We're like, no. Okay.
I mean, that would be a fun. That would be a fun trigger thing, though. I've never thought about using a cap gun.
That's what we tried to explain to them. It's not that far from a battlefield. Some type of battle had to happen there. Yeah. We want to find out if it did.
And then I'm breaking Jeff Ballinger's rule, and I'm going to Salem and Halloween.
Oh, nice.
I'm so excited about that. It's not that's more my history coming out, that I'm really excited to go there and see the history of Salem. So
I got to ask, what is Jeff Ballinger's rule about Salem and Halloween, please?
He says the only time you shouldn't go to Salem is from October 1st to November 1st.
Really?
Yeah.
And why is that?
I mean, it's like Mardi Gras. I mean, like, stores are crowded, streets are crowded. You can't park on the street in Salem during that month unless you have a residence permit. So we got an Airbnb, which is super cool themed, and it's my best friend and I were going. It's a bucket list item. So I'm excited to go there.
You should be. I'm excited for you. Wow.
Well, while you're down there, I'm sure we just had her on the show not too long ago. Courtney Buckley. She is one of the tour guides down there.
Oh, cool.
She's from the show Scared and Alone.
Okay. So,
she is a tour guide down in Salem there. So watch out for her. So you want to run into her, tell her the Paranormal Voice says hello.
I will.
And I mean, like I said, she was telling us all about the Salem stuff, and I was like, yeah, it's on my bucket list to go, but I would like to go during the non-event stuff, because this way here you can really enjoy the town, because I hear it gets quite overfilled, but that is amazing. Before our time runs out, I just want to say, Ronnie, Shayla, thank you so much for joining us here on the TPV Nation. It was so great to catch up with fellow investigators and hear what it's like where you guys love to investigate. Obviously, it sounds like a lot of fun. And hopefully we will get to see each other down the road at some point.
Yes. And thank you so much for having us on.
Yeah,
we
thanks for having us on.
We love talking about history and all the ghosties.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 2 very passionate historians. They are Middletown Paranormal, Ronnie and Shayla Rickard. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. What a show.
You're welcome.
Talk about adventures in the paranormal. I love it. So much to hear, and I'm sure there's so much more. I don't doubt it. Thank you, of course, to all the creeps, the freaks, and weirdos that make up the one, the only TPV Nation from day one to day now. We don't get to do what we get to do, and that is this right here without the support from every one of you and great guests like Ronnie and Shayla Rickard. We will see you all on the other side, of course, but in the meantime and in between time, happy hauntings.
Happy hauntings.